All right, so if it's a little shaky, I'm sorry, I'm just holding the camera. First, I'm just gonna show you a little bit about like how I film, or where, you know, like my setup for the actual crafting itself. I've got a room tour that I will leave linked for you below. It shows my room in the cleanest way it'll ever be, which it is not right now, so I won't even try to show it to you. But I'm just gonna show you kind of like my setup for filming and stuff. So again, no judgment, it's really messy. I've got those two umbrella lights that I use. I do face them kind of in this manner where one will be angled from over here and one will be over there just to shine down. This is my little space that I use. A lot of times I'll have a mat down. My iPad is not normally there, but you'll see why in a minute. I'm going to show you my other stuff. But this is my over the head. This is what I use actually to put my camera in. A lot of people have it on the backs of their chairs. I am fortunate. I have a shelf right there that I can put it on. So it makes it easier for me. I don't like it on the back of a chair or a desk personally because I feel like it shakes it a lot more. So it's just, again, personal preference and what you have, you know, what you have to work with. I've got, of course, my glue gun stuff there. I've tried to keep as much of my crafting supplies within an arm's reach as I can. And now I'll go ahead and show you a little bit about how I plan my videos and how I edit my videos. All right, so this is kind of how I organize my videos. I am spoiled. I have an iPad Pro. I've had it for a couple of years now. What I do is I actually have a digital planner just because it works better for me. It's my preference. You can have this all in a paper planner too. But I do in GoodNotes. And so let me show you, I'm going to show you one that I had a really good plan in place for. The best example, you know what I mean? All right, so this is from the month of May. It was my crafting because of the Brave month. I had a lot going on, so this is probably the best example I can give you. Again, this is something you can easily transition into a paper planner if that works better for you. Again, this is all stuff that works for me. So on my month view, what I do is I kind of list out all the stuff I'm going to do. Or stuff I'm thinking about doing. I leave in like a question mark, and I've gotten a little bit better about this over the last couple of weeks too. So let me show you just as an example. I'm trying to think where's the best one. I'm going to show you the 14th. So like I said, this is all just month view. You know, if there's a challenge somewhere, like this was my challenge that I hosted with Sammy from Unicorn Dust Design. This was a family hop that we did. This, like I said, just all kinds of different things are going to be on here. This was a crazy month. All right, so let me show you a good example of kind of how I plan out a video. So on the, what does she do it on? The third Friday of every month, Corey from Crafted by Corey does a minis challenge. And on this one, it was also a collaboration for me. It was a collaboration with Southern G Moore Gals. And she wanted to, she came up with the idea of doing lemons, or not lemons, I lie, watermelons. So I know I needed some inspiration for this because I didn't have any like main big ideas that came to mind. So I was like, all right, we're going to write watermelon minis, you know, right here. I've got the watermelon minis. I was like, that's what it has to be. And I knew I wanted to make a tier tray, and I actually ended up finding something at Dollar Tree. Sometimes I'll sketch out my ideas, but these are kind of just my basic things to kind of get me started on thinking about stuff. Let me see if I can find an example of like my drawing skills. Please don't laugh, they're horrible. All right, so this is my extremely busy open collab that I did. Now this one I had a lot more that I drew on, but then I also kind of had some inspiration too. See, I had some inspiration. This was like my list I had going of everybody that wanted to participate in the challenge, and it ended up being even more than this. It was crazy. But this was like, I was like, hey, how many do I want to do? You know, you can do whatever. This was, like I said, just kind of like my spot to dump my ideas. I ended up doing like the land I love. I had an idea to do all kinds of different things. I didn't necessarily even end up doing all of them. I just put it here, kind of draw it out so I know where I want to put things, what I want to do with them. And I have a basic idea. A lot of the time, I don't make most of the projects I draw out or have as inspiration, because I'll be making stuff and then I'm like, oh, I want to do this, or oh, this leads me into this, or oh, I can do this instead. So a lot of times that happens, but this is kind of just how I get like a major like idea of things. I'll save a couple ideas, I'll draw some ideas out. Sometimes all it is stuff I saved. Okay, so here's another one of the ideas way I kind of saved a lot more ideas. This one was a Mother's Day collaboration with Sarah from Beebeecrafts, and she probably has more of a title than that I can't remember. But I knew I wanted to do some Mother's Day stuff, so I kind of saved some ideas, and I did a lot more of these that were kind of similar, but branched out on it. Like this one, that one was very similar in what I did. It just looked a lot different. The way I made it was different. This one, I definitely used that same quote. You know what I mean? Like, it gave me a lot of ideas, but then they end up looking completely different. So that's how I plan out my videos. And again, you can definitely use the Domestic Diva. I'll link her site below for you. She keeps a calendar of all the collabs that are going on, so I would definitely recommend you checking that out if you need to know like places to do playlists and things. Otherwise, reach out to your favorite, YouTubers and ask if they will collab with you. You never can tell. Sometimes they say yes, sometimes they completely ignore you. It's happened to me. Or sometimes they just, politely decline, which is good too. You know what? It's okay. You never know if they're going to say yes or not if you don't reach out to them. All right, so this is my editing software that I use. I use Wondershare Filmora. This is on my MacBook Pro. They do have a Windows version as well. It's very similar. I've actually used it before. So just so you know though, if you have both machines, they don't work across each one. You'll have to buy a different license if you have Windows or a different license if you have Mac. Make sure you are aware of that if you decide to buy Filmora. And I think there's a free version, but I'm not 100% sure. So what I start off with on all of my videos is going to be, I do 3 seconds of my thumbnail, which I don't have on here yet, but I'll do 3 seconds of my thumbnail with a specific music that I have already picked out. You hear it at the beginning of all of my videos. And then what I do next is I have this slide right here that's kind of my talking slide. I don't always use it. Most of the time I do. Sometimes I'll film myself doing an introduction, but you always want to keep this as short as possible. Definitely keep it under 30 seconds for all of it. So like my 3 seconds of my thumbnail, and then this one is automatically set for 5 seconds. I try to keep it at that, so keeping like my full-blown introduction under 10 seconds. Sometimes I talk a little bit longer, so I'll lengthen it if I need to. And then all of this is just all of my clips that have been dropped in. I've already gone through and kind of edited it down. A lot of times the first one I'll leave a little bit longer just because I'll probably talk more during that. And then I throw in all of my clips after that point, pretty much. At the end of each one of my DIYs, I include my kind of like reveal and everything. Just that's my particular way of doing it. That's what I like to do. And I'll go ahead and show you now how I do an editing for like a whole DIY clip. All right, so I'm gonna walk you through kind of how I go about editing. Now, everyone's editing software is a little different. This one is called Filmora. And what we're gonna do is I've already uploaded any of the actual footage or whatever you would call it of my DIYs. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna find everything I filmed from this one project. And I'm just gonna drag it in here into my timeline. So like I said, everyone's software is gonna be a little bit different. So what I do first, just to make sure I always do it, I'm gonna take down all of the volume, because no one wants to hear my commentary when I'm crafting, although sometimes it's kind of funny. It just kind of depends. So I'll do that first all the way across. And what a lot of times I'll do when I'm doing like the main detail stuff, I'll shorten it, make it more condensed. It's not shortened, but basically it just makes it to where it's easier to go through the whole stream. So first I flip them around because I film, like I showed you earlier, I film using an over the head kind of angle. And I want my, if you can see, I want my hands at the bottom of the screen. That's just the way I prefer it. Everyone's different. Everyone likes different things as far as their angles or whatever. Like I said before, this is all going to be just based on my preferences and things that I've liked and learned and all that. So I'm going to do all of this part first. I'll speed you up here just a sec. All right, so now we're done with that. Now what I'll start doing is I'm gonna go through and kind of update like the timing, how quick things are. A lot of times when I'm filming, I'll hold an item like so the camera can actually see it, you know, for several seconds. You know what I mean? Like if you're holding like this glue, you're holding a glue and you're holding it there. So if that's your style, that's what I do at least. I hold it there that way, if nothing else, at least while I am doing my voiceover, I can see what I'm about to use. So I can say like, oh, this is the Gorilla Wood Glue I'm going to use on this project. And I'll literally hold it there for like 5 or 10 seconds. That way I'm not worried when I speed everything up. I like to speed things up. For the most part, it's usually between 1.5 and 2.5 seconds times. You know what I mean? So this scene right here, this is again, is specific to Filmora. This part right here is saying that this clip is 5 seconds long and it's at 1 times. So I don't really need to make this part too fast, so I'm just going to speed it up to 1.5. And then it'll bring it down to 3 seconds. You can click enter or you can just hit OK. And then so that one's sped up. I'm going to do all the speeding up first. Like this part here, I'm just kind of taking some stuff apart. I'll drag my little thing across the timeline to see what I'm actually doing. And then I'll decide how fast I want it. Like that's really not anything important. That's literally just pulling off all the plastic. And that's only 16 seconds long, but I'm gonna go ahead and do that at 3 times. I usually don't do 3 times unless it's really like literally watching paint dry. So we'll do that at 3 times. And then I'm gonna come into this clip and see what this is. Let's see. See here, I'm actually holding my thing of paint, Waverly chalk paint and plaster. And I'm holding it there for quite a few seconds because I want to be able to just speed everything up like I've done everywhere else. So I'm going to do the same thing, speed that up. That was only 4 seconds, so I'm not real worried about it, but I will do it at 1.5. That brings it down to just under 3. So like I said, it just kind of varies on your own personal opinions and thoughts on stuff. So, all right, so this is going to be the meat of it. And here I am holding, you know, the Waverly chalk, the folk art antique wax, and see I didn't hold it there as long as I probably should have. So what I'll do here is I'm going to clip it and I'll leave that time to where it is right now. Sorry if you hear crazy background noises, my son is playing or watching Minecraft videos or something. So see here, all I'm doing on this clip is just going to apply all of that antique wax. Now I did not film painting it in the plaster color because, you know, most of the time people who watch our videos know how to paint. The antiquing, you know, and distressing and stuff is just a little different because everybody's a little different in how they do things. So we are going to speed this up at 2.5 times and I'll see where it is as far as time. Oh, I just told it to go clockwise. So I'm going to go backwards and I'll reverse that. Okay, so speed and duration. See, this whole clip is almost 6 minutes long. That is way too long for a clip like this. But I'm gonna go ahead and do it at 2.5. I might cut some stuff out, and that brings us down to 2 minutes and 20 seconds. So it's not horrible if I leave it all in like that. But I just wanna see what all that includes. So that's got painting, and gluing something down, adding some twine that I did not do. So that part I am gonna trim out. I'm just gonna bring it back to the last thing I did, push that down. All right, I'm gonna clip it here. Sometimes that happens, you know, you do something and then you're like, nope, don't like that. I recorded it, but it's not going to be included because I didn't do it. So I'll just skim down until I find where I stopped basically. So I decided I didn't like that, so here we go. And here I'll clip that out and that'll shorten that clip significantly. And they just started doing this on Filmora where if you delete a clip, it just leaves a blank. I don't know why it does that. I don't like it. It was an update. Maybe if I did my next update, it would show if maybe they took that out. All right, so here we are. I'm gonna probably delete some of this too. Yep, okay. See, I had some more stuff that I didn't actually do anything. I was getting ready to do. I'll delete that part as well. And now we're down to placing down some of the greenery and then placing the flower. I'll leave that in just dandy right there, and then all of that clip is nothing, so I am going to delete that as well. You don't want to leave too much of this kind of stuff in there because people just don't like it. You know, people don't want to see you doing nothing. Unless you have a really good gift of gab, they're not going to want to watch, if you know, unless you're saying some really interesting stuff. All right, so this last little part is just gluing a little block down on the back side of it, and that's it. So we're just going to go ahead and speed that part up too. And that one is 20 seconds long, so we're just going to do it at 2 times on that one. And that's done. And now what I'm going to do, I've got a photo I've already taken of that project. I've got 2 to pick from that I took of that project. I do each project I do individually, and then I do them all lumped up together. I try to do it all at the same time. That way I don't have to reset up my lights, reset up all of the projects, so I get it all done and out of the way. So what we're going to do though, we're going to change the lighting a little bit on here. We're going to go to color correction, and this is going to do it just to the photo, not to everything else. It has some preset stuff. I never use it. I just go into adjust and then into auto, and I kind of go from there, and I kind of like that. So what I'll do is I'll change sometimes the threshold and the value, just depending on how it looks. Sometimes the auto looks good, sometimes it looks wonky. I wanted a lot of times to do brighter side of things. Value was at 50. I'll go maybe a little bit brighter. Yeah, I like that a little bit better. And then threshold is like your contrast. So I'll leave it about where it was. So there we go. I'm happy with that, and I click OK. And now what I always do at the end, I have like 2 different little like pre-done stuff that I do in Canva. This one is just kind of my little spot to talk and say like, hey, thanks for watching. You'll see that here in a little bit. And then this is my end slide. This is the one where you'll put like, YouTube will let you select and put it in there. So I'll show you guys that maybe a little bit later. And that is all. I'm going to go ahead and save this. And what I have to do, at least with Filmora, again, every software is going to probably be different. I actually have to render this, and then I can do my voiceover. So I hope you guys enjoyed kind of that quick overview of the whole process I go through for kind of making a video. And let me know down in the comments if you want some more detail, or if you want, I can just skip into kind of what to do once you've filmed a video. I'd love to know what other kinds of things you'd like to see on this channel, and I'll see you guys next time.